A young man with dark hair clenches his fist beside a heavy metal door, determination sharpening the chill as someone mutters that they can't break it open. Then Yi announced that with enough people, breaking through the wall would be quick work. Wood splintered as Yi and another man hammered at the door with wooden sticks, cracks spreading while anxious onlookers watched the barrier strain. A group of hostile men gathered as one, his voice rough with anger, declared Yi would never laugh at them again. A sharp crack echoed as an unseen force split the wall, sending shards tumbling to the cold floor. Yi, a determined young man with dark hair, swung a heavy wooden mallet with fierce resolve. Still gripping the wooden bat, Yi let out a frustrated shout, wondering aloud why the task felt so difficult. Then Yi inspected the cracked wall and noted with concern that this surface was also reinforced. Several men gathered around the house as Yi demanded to know who could possibly reinforce an entire home with steel plates. A determined young man with dark hair slammed his shovel into the metal door, while two others battered it with a sledgehammer and brute force. Yi, a thoughtful strategist, scratched his head and told the group the outer wall was reinforced with steel too strong for their weapons. Yi, focused and holding a glass of red wine, tapped and told the others to keep working hard but not waste their energy. A man in a blue jacket and glasses demanded to know how anyone could build a house like this, calling out Yi by name. With a furious glare, Yi jabbed his finger forward and accused someone of knowing about the snowstorm all along, insisting every move was meant to block them. Rain poured down as a group of furious men confronted someone off-panel, accusing the villain of selfishness and demanding to know if he felt any guilt. A man with a gun threatened a kneeling, crying young man, warning that regret and self-blame would come for refusing to help. He held up his gun and warned that even with reinforced walls, everyone should remember the ceiling and floor could still be weak points. A man with dark hair raised his finger and told the group to split up and help dismantle it, insisting he wouldn't let someone box them out. Yi and two companions slammed giant wooden mallets into the floor and wall, the heavy blows echoing through the battered room. Yi, confident and defiant, declared that although it was clever, he refused to be outsmarted. Yi, frustrated, examined the broken hole and demanded to know how they were supposed to get inside. A nervous young man explained that even the bottom was reinforced, calling Yi's house nothing more than an airtight metal box. Then Yi, cautious and armored, moved forward with each step echoing through the tense silence. Three men sat slumped on the cold stone floor, and the worried, weak young man muttered that he was so hungry he might starve. Blood dripped from Yi's mouth as he insisted that this really was just meat, his tone pressing the tense moment forward. Blood on their lips, Yi and another injured man stared ahead in shock, while two others lingered in the background, one sitting head bowed. One tired but attentive young man checked his phone, and he mentioned it was still hot after working so long, while another said he felt exhausted. He held his head in desperation, asking if there was truly nothing left they could do. A distraught man with tears streaming down his face pleaded to Yi, demanding to know why he should sacrifice himself for everyone else. Yi, thoughtful and strategic, suggested trying the balcony since the new sliding glass door might give them a chance to break in. A group gathered near the cracked floor as the young man with dark hair explained they could use the windows for an escape route. A determined young man with dark hair leads his apprehensive accomplice across a narrow plank, each gripping a heavy wooden mallet as snow falls around them. He sat back on the couch, quietly sipping his drink as a calm smile played across his face. Yi, calm and contemplative, sits on the couch watching three anxious men with weapons glare at him from outside the glass door. Yi, angry and confrontational, raised his arms and declared that after he broke the glass, those selfish people would be finished. He leaned forward with a cocky grin, declaring that his enemies would die today and that all the delicious food was his alone. He smirked with confidence, a toothpick between his lips as he stood alone in the kitchen. He lit the Molotov cocktail, telling his enemies they would soon be unable to speak. He lit a flame on the wall fixture, assuring everyone he would warm them up and reminding them not to forget his help. A curious young man with dark hair glanced up at the ceiling and quietly mentioned he saw something unusual above them. A close-up of Yi's eye catches the flicker of a Molotov cocktail, shock tightening his gaze in a single instant. Flames exploded around Yi as he stood defiantly in the doorway, forcing the shocked men nearby to stumble back in alarm. One of the panicked men shouted that Yi was the one who hurled the Molotov as the flames erupted around them. Snow swirled through the burning air as Yi, a young man with dark hair, leapt down from the flaming building. Inside the room, Yi smiled with cold confidence and declared it was better to fall than to be burned alive, as fire consumed the victims outside. Trapped by the blaze, Yi screamed for someone to save him. Yi rejected the bottle, his voice steady as he refused to accept what was offered. A man engulfed in flames desperately begged the calm figure with a staff to save him from dying. A man with a hammer shouted for everyone to run, warning that the advancing figure in flames would put them all in danger. He shouted at the burning men to stay back, insisting they couldn't be saved and telling everyone to run before the fire spread. Two figures walked safely above the burning wreckage, while the victims below writhed in agony as snow drifted down around them. Fire roared outside the glass door as three silhouetted figures, engulfed in flames, burned uncontrollably while smoke billowed higher into the chaotic night. A woman with gentle eyes reached out her hand and quietly said it felt warm as the flames flickered around the crouching figure. Rain streaked down as Yi, a determined and cautious young man, climbed over the ledge while three silent onlookers watched from inside. Then Yi drove his heel down onto the victim's arm, a sharp crack echoing as bones splintered beneath his shoe. A starving and desperate man fell to his knees by the glass door, begging Yi for any food, even just a piece of bread. Another desperate man pressed his hands to the glass and pleaded, saying they would do anything if he just spared some food. Inside, Yi sat calmly on the couch, eating noodles as he gently told the group that their behavior was making things uncomfortable. He said that eating helps when he feels uncomfortable, slurping noodles with a carefree smile as the shocked men watched him from the snowy darkness outside. Three desperate men pressed their hands against the glass, staring longingly inside as the sound of slurping echoed from within. Then Yi offered the bowl of noodles through the opening and told the shocked men outside he could give them another chance. With a smug grin, Yi challenged the others to bring him his head, promising they'd get to eat noodles like this for a week. Still, Yi, injured but alert, threw his hands up defensively as two startled men stared wide-eyed toward the unseen threat. Yi, an observant young man, watched as three men suddenly stopped in front of the building, wondering if someone had said something to them. A tense young man with dark hair leveled his gun as a circle of red-eyed figures and shocked allies closed in around him. Yi, defensive and angry, confronted the armed group in the alley and demanded they back away. Yi, nervous and aggressive, threatened the crowd by declaring he'd reward anyone who killed with a week's worth of food. A tense man with a mohawk demanded to know what would happen to Yi if they left, while another urged the group to search for another way inside. Two men stood in the dim hallway, debating whether to risk everything for food or try negotiating with Yi before starvation claimed them. A man with a gun barked at his companion to hurry, warning they'd be left with nothing but ice if they wasted any more time. Yi, authoritative and commanding, strode down the dim corridor with two silent companions and ordered them to move faster since they'd already eaten. He signaled urgently for the attack, and the figure behind him raised a cleaver in response. A bald young man spun around, alarmed, as something unseen startled him in the dim hallway. A tense young man with dark hair aimed his gun forward as two red-eyed attackers lunged at him from behind. A thunderous blast echoed through the snow, rattling the tall apartment building and briefly silencing the chaos inside. A determined young man with dark hair aimed his gun at two bloodied, injured men sprawled on the floor beside cleavers. Yi, defiant and fierce despite injuries, threatened his unseen opponent and demanded they kill first while insisting the injured men be chopped up for him. An urgent man's voice rang out from the hallway, warning that brother had just been stabbed in the back. Yi, injured and alarmed, spun around with sweat on his face and called out as a large infected wound became visible on his back. A young man with dark hair leaned on his companion, urgently calling Dr. Joe and asking her to come bandage his wound. A woman tended to his injured back while he told her the help wouldn't be free, but he could share some supplies. Yi, wrapped in a towel, refused treatment and insisted he'd rather die than accept help, declaring that having a doctor meant everything now. Yi, shirtless and resolute, touched the chin of the long-haired person and told them he would sacrifice them last if it ever became necessary. A calm and composed fighter blocked the attacker's strike with his forearm, stopping the assault before it could land. A bald man gripped Yi, holding him back as the tense young man demanded to know what the others were doing. Inside the dim room, Yi held his gun steady and said no one could leave until his injury was fully healed. Several men gathered around a table as a young man with dark hair reported that Yi's fortified house had withstood every attack so far. A determined woman with dark purple hair and red eyes insisted they should move next door, take turns watching, and be ready to kill Yi. A woman in a lab coat walked purposefully away, while Yi asked where Dr. Joe was headed. A woman with long dark purple hair glanced back, telling someone to go to the bathroom as she opened the door. A woman with purple hair and red eyes studies her phone, reading that plans to move next door and is told to keep monitoring. A nervous young man and an uneasy woman linger behind a door as he tells brother the place now belongs to him and they'll leave immediately. In a dim corner, a young man with dark hair shields a frightened woman as three men, one holding a phone, another gripping a hammer, advance toward the light. A bald man with a menacing glare raises a stick as he braces himself against the three closing in. A group moves quietly through the shadowy corridor, each clutching a bat as tension thickens around Yi. Suddenly, two glowing pink swords collide just behind Yi and his startled companions, forcing them to recoil in shock. Three men beat two bloodied figures on the floor with wooden sticks as a woman in a white coat watches, her face tense with worry. Yi smirked and told the anxious woman he couldn't pass up an opportunity like this. He advised the worried woman that they needed to save food, since the colder weather could make supplies run low. A man with glasses scratched his arm and complained that the itching was unbearable. He stared in horror at the severe wound on his arm, insisting it couldn't possibly be real. Clutching his wounded arm, he broke down and cried that he wasn't ready to die. Two men sit together on the couch, each tending to a bleeding arm, their faces drawn tight with fear and worry. A distressed young man pleaded with his cousin to beg Yi for help, but she refused and told him he was on his own. He sat on the couch, glancing at the tablet as someone asked what he planned to do next after days of inaction. Then he pointed his gun at two men with their hands raised and told everyone to cooperate if they wanted to survive. A worried man with bruises warned his group that supplies were almost gone and urged them to capture Yi before traitors could strike. Yi, observant and candid, commented that the bully only threatened people to make them his thugs so he wouldn't get attacked. He held his phone to his ear, nervously asking how things were going on the other side. Yi, wrapped in a blanket, quietly reported over the phone that Skang was now raiding homes and attacking weaker neighbors. Still holding his phone, the anxious young man reported that attackers were storming homes, killing any occupants they found, and continuing their violent spree. A desperate woman, shivering in her blanket, pleaded over the phone that she hadn't eaten in 2 days and begged Yi to save her. Yi, determined and focused, decided he couldn't let Joe R die because her medical expertise was too valuable for their survival. He smirked as he told someone on the phone that it was time to let her act and give a taste of payback. A determined woman with purple hair held her phone close, calmly telling the unseen listener she could guarantee their survival if they helped her with one task. A man, angry and unseen, slammed his fist against the door and shouted for Yi to stop hiding and come out. Yi, calm and confrontational, told Joe Peng that the experience of infection was far from pleasant. A furious man explained how the bacteria in a deep wound would destroy flesh, then screamed that he would kill Yi. Yi, confident and pragmatic, told the thoughtful man he was as good as dead and urged him to do what he never dared before. If you'd like to see your favorite titles retold, leave a comment and I'll be sure to pick some of them up from time to time. Also, let me know which video format you like more, long videos or short ones. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you again soon.